order the Sparks City Council meeting for Monday, the 20th at 2:01, because I didn't get started at 2. With a roll call. Madam Clerk.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Bybee.
Here.
Dare.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan. Here. Acting City Manager Crawford.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. Invocation. Who do we have for Mr. Dare?
If you would join me. Lord, we come to you and we thank you for today. We thank you for each person that's here, and we thank you for this amazing country. This week, as we come together to think about and celebrate being thankful and what Thanksgiving stands for, Lord, I pray that we do take a moment to be kind to those next to us, to try to look through their eyes, see what they see, and just kind of get a touch of the path they're on. I do lift up our first responders and so many people who will be working during this time. Lord, our military and our first responders, be with them, keep them safe, be with their families, and thank you for our time together. In your name we pray. Amen.
Chief, will you lead us in the pledge?
Please follow me, place your hand over your heart. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public comment. We're going to start off with our city attorney, Mr. Wes Duncan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor and City Council members, I wanted to recognize today Kristen Aquist, who is one of our senior legal secretaries in our criminal division. She's going to be retiring from the city of Sparks after 22 and a half years of dedicated service to the city. Kristen has been, if you know the city attorney's office, she's been really a linchpin over in our office for a number of years. And so Kristen was born in Colorado, but quickly came to our region as a child and was a Wooster High School graduate. She started here with the city, and particularly in the city attorney's office, on July 30th, 2001, and has served with our office continuously since that time. During her time with the city, of course, she didn't just do all work. She raised 2 kids. She handled approximately 26,000 cases, both criminal and traffic, during her time, and that was a conservative approximation. She was the point person in our office for budget and for purchasing. She worked for 2 different city attorneys. She won't tell you which one was her favorite, but we all know. I kid. She also worked with 18 different attorneys, 12 different legal secretaries, and has been responsible again for our budget, for our purchasing. She designed a case management system that we utilized for many years and was in the process of designing another one for us. She was our terminal agency coordinator, always helpful on our internal, she was kind of our internal IT guru. She managed CJIS, and for the public, she also issued tens and tens of thousands of subpoenas in our criminal cases. We're going to miss you so much, Kristen, and we're going to miss just seeing you in the office, but we wish you absolutely the best in your future. And at this time, I wanted to present Kristen with a plaque from our office that says, Kristen Aquist, Senior Criminal Legal Secretary, 2001 to 2023, in recognition of your many years of hard work and dedication to the city of Sparks. Thank you for serving our community and serving the city attorney's office, and on behalf of all of our staff and a grateful city, we thank you.
Yeah, and that job? No, that'd be tough. Oh, you got billed.
If I may have just a couple more minutes, maybe not a couple.
Go right ahead. It's always impressive when somebody reads back to you your history, huh? Tens of thousands of subpoenas had to be a lot of fun.
Let's gloss over that. Nobody needs to know how many people I subpoenaed. I wasn't very popular for that. But I did want to say thank you to both the employees of the city of Sparks and to all the citizens that I got to assist along the way. Just thank you.
Thank you for your service. Let's move on to William Stewart, followed by Bill Wagner.
Good afternoon, elected officials. William T. Stewart for the record. So I'm here today to not dwell on the past, but to only learn from it and make sure that critical decisions are made with proper procedures and the utmost transparency to the public this body answers to. Having a consensus of our city attorney, human resources department, and city council, all who are not informed of a decision that will cost the city and taxpayers possibly millions of dollars, is unacceptable. In March of 2023, there was an offer of $170,000 to settle a lawsuit that will now be in upwards of $600,000. If there was, and I quote, an uncomfortable working environment through intimidation and a culture of fear, why has there not been a review of the manager's performance? How many good people have left the city of Sparks because of this hostile work environment? Our Constitution was set up to make sure not one branch of government could have more power than the other. The city manager answers to this council. Who was checking his performance, the contacts he had with vendors, the work environments that was created? The actions of one individual has cost us, the taxpayers of Sparks, an undetermined amount of money. We all live here and want our elected officials to represent us, seek the truth, and have policies and procedures to make sure we don't repeat past mistakes. So, 5 takeaways for your consideration. Hiring great people. Number 2, having great policies. Number 3, having great training. Number 4, great supervision. Number 5, having well-written discipline procedures. This will all help protect our great city. I thank you all for being public servants, helping in so many ways to make Sparks a city that we all want for our families to be proud of. We have much to be thankful for this Thanksgiving. Let's learn from the past so history does not repeat itself. God bless. Prayers for Israel and Ukraine and for peace throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. Mr. Wagner.
Thank you very much. To the mayor, Mayor Lost, and city council members, for the record, my name is Bill Wagner. I'd like to make a follow-up statement between NK, which is Neil Kurtz, I eat him, and the ex-chief, fire chief, Mark Lawson, because only one city council person responded to my. This individual, I have a lot of respect. This is my thoughts only. NK has no idea I'm doing it. Please do not give the 5 to 7 working day manager $600,000. That he is. Also remember, wait a minute, that he is, there we go, that I believe he is looking for. Also remember Mark Lawson was asked to resign and was going to, but he changed his mind. He is seeing easy money to be made by a lawsuit. I personally believe that the city taxpayers will not be happy nor forget this loss of wasted revenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I've got Trey Abney. Pardon me? Oh,
Yeah, I can go up now though, so I don't have to stay till 11.1.
is 11-1 public hearing?
That's okay.
Do you want to speak now, Trey, or do you want to
Okay.
wait?
Yeah, I'd
We'll
like
be
to.
there in like 3 hours.
Yeah, I'll speak now. Not that I don't love being here. Thank
We
you.
like having you here.
I'm
so-
sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. For the record, my name is Trey Abney. I'm here today representing NAIOP Northern Nevada, the largest commercial real estate advocacy organization in this region. Speaking here on 11.1, which has a variety of development-related fee increases. Just wanted to come here and thank Mr. Mayor, Mr. Manager, your staff, specifically Ms. Reed and Mr. Rundle, for coming and talking to the NAIOP Government Affairs Committee and laying out in a clear and transparent way of why your staff believes that we need to have these, what could be considered minimal fee increases on development. Now, let me be clear, I would be run out of town on a rail if I came up here and supported fee increases. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we know that every fee increase certainly, at the end of the day, will get passed down to renters, to people who buy homes, and to tenants who live, or excuse me, tenants who operate in commercial buildings. That being said, we know you have a budget to meet. We know that you have people to pay, and we know that you deal with inflationary pressures just like the private sector does. And so we understand the need. Unlike other levels of government, you cannot print your own money, so you need to be able to pay your people and do the things you need to do here. So again, frankly, Ms. Reed and Mr. Rundle, excellent. They did a great job coming over and walking us through that. So I just wanted to praise them, not praise the fee increases, but praise staff and understand the position you're in when you have to make decisions like this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Trey. All right, anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais. I'm looking for approval of the agenda. Oh, we got to get back on here. Yeah. Hold on. Ms. Vanderwell,
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Mr. Anderson.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Minutes, looking for approval of the minutes. Mr. Dare,
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for October 23rd, 2023.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 7.1, or 7 is announcements, presentation, recognition items, and items of special interest. Boards and commissions vacancy announcement. Chief Crawforth.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of City Council. For the record, your acting city manager, Chris Crawforth, and your police chief. For the Planning Commission, there are 2 vacancies on the Sparks Planning Commission, each for a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2027. Applicants must be registered to vote and reside in the city of Sparks. Applications will be accepted until Wednesday, November 23rd, 2023 at 5 p.m. Persons interested in serving on this committee should complete a community service application online at the city's website, www.cityofsparks.us/get involved. Simply complete the volunteer application form and hit submit. Do you want me to go through? The other 2 before it?
7.2 and 7.3, go right
Okay.
ahead.
Enterprise Fund Advisory Committee. There is 1 vacancy on the Sparks Enterprise Fund Advisory Committee for a residential construction representative. This position is for a 4-year term ending December 31st, 2027. Applications will be accepted until Wednesday, November 23rd, 2023 at 5 p.m. And we have 1 vacancy on the Sparks Civil Service Commission for a partial term ending June 30th of 2024. Members must be a Sparks resident and cannot be a city employee or related to within 3rd degree of consanguinity.
Yep.
Got
word.
that word.
That's
Thanks,
the
sir.
word.
Applications will be accepted until Wednesday, November 23rd, 2023 at 5 p.m. That's what I have for you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to 7.4, Proclamation National Youth Homelessness Awareness Month. Do I see Trevor here? No? Okay, we don't have either representative here, but go right ahead, Mr. Dare.
Okay. Whereas approximately 1/3, 32% of Nevada's population is between the ages of 0 through 24 years, Whereas nearly 25% of Nevada's rural youth aged 14 through 18 live in poverty, compared to fewer than 15% of urban youth aged 14 through 18. And whereas a 2019 count of unhoused people found a total homeless population of 7,169 in Nevada, with 1,025 individuals, or 15%, being unaccompanied young adults aged 18 through 24. And whereas a disproportionate number of youth experiencing homelessness are members of historically underserved populations, including youth of color and LGBTQIA+ youth, and whereas youth experiencing homelessness on their own are more likely to be victims of physical and sexual abuse, labor or sex trafficking, and other forms of exploitation. And whereas the City of Sparks aims to bring greater awareness to the challenges and needs experienced by children, youth, and families experiencing homelessness and the resources available to address those challenges and needs. And whereas the City of Sparks recognizes that homelessness continues to be a serious problem for many individuals and families in the City of Sparks. And whereas November was first declared as National Homeless Youth Awareness Month in 2007, and is a time to acknowledge those children and families experiencing homelessness and build awareness of the issue of youth homelessness, including its causes and potential solutions. Therefore, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, does hereby proclaim November 2023 as Youth Homeless Awareness Month.
Thank you, sir. 7.5, National Apprenticeship Week. I see some apprentices here. Come on down, a couple of you anyways. By the way, I was reading your booklet. What an impressive book that is to hand a kid out of high school, to show them how much money they can earn right out of high school as an apprentice, and what a journeyman makes. Very, very impressive.
May I speak?
Have a seat, and we're going to read your proclamation, and then we'll have you speak afterwards.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas National Apprenticeship Week is celebrating its 9th anniversary of raising awareness about the vital role registered apprenticeships play in creating opportunities for apprentices to earn while they learn and preparing pathways to well-paying careers, and whereas registered apprenticeship programs enable employers to develop and train their future workforce while offering career seekers affordable paths to secure high-paying jobs, and whereas registered apprenticeships expand opportunities in the workforce for individuals representing groups who have been historically underserved, marginalized, and adversely affected by persistent poverty and inequity, including women, people of color, rural communities, and individuals with disabilities. And whereas registered apprenticeship is a proven and industry-driven training model, is a key strategy to improving job quality and creating access to good-paying, family-sustaining jobs for all, starting with youth and young adults while addressing some of our nation's pressing workforce challenges, such as rebuilding our country's infrastructure, addressing critical supply chain demands, supporting a clean energy workforce, modernizing our cybersecurity response, and responding to care economy issues. Now, therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim November 13th through the 19th, 2023 as National Apprenticeship Week.
Give us your name for the record.
For the record, my name is Andrew Maldonado. I'd like to tell you a little bit about what being part of an apprenticeship has meant for me. I was raised by my parents who didn't have any college, didn't have high school diplomas. My father was a hard worker. He walked to work every day in warehouses over here in Sparks, and he never had the opportunity to join a union, didn't even know about them, that he can join here. I watched him work hard and never be successful to raise my family above the level of poverty. We lived in motels growing up. My parents never owned a vehicle, never owned a home. When I got the opportunity to join an apprenticeship, it gave me the opportunity to make generational changes for my family. I own vehicles, I own my own home in Fernley. My kids are both in college. Just having that opportunity when I thought all I could do was work in a warehouse showed me that there was more for me. I didn't initially graduate high school. I got a GED. I went to apprenticeship later. I went back and got my associate's degree in college. Currently, I'm the director of training for Local 350 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. I'm the president of the union. I'm on the Health and Welfare Board and the Conference Board. It's given me the opportunity to do more than I ever dreamed I'd be able to do, which is someone opening the door for me. I realize not everybody's in that position. Some people have the opportunity for college, but it's not for them. So we give them the opportunity to learn a trade, go to school, get college credit, and the only thing they pay for is reimbursement for books. So that's what being part of an apprenticeship has meant for me and my family.
Great story.
you.
Do you have anything to add?
Yes, I do.
Please.
My name is Avery Moliner. I'm thankful for being here today as part of a great community, to be a part of something greater than myself. I was raised by a union-proud father with union-proud uncles and cousins around me. Amongst all of that, I chose a different path in life for a little while. I joined the United States Army at 17. I'm still currently in. I serve out of California in the National Guard now. In a few months, it'll be almost 10 years of service for me. And during that time, I attended college. I pursued a passion of mine, which was visual and performing arts with a minor in creative writing. I obtained my AA, but I wanted more. I remember teasing my father, telling him that I would dabble in his trade just to be a better welder than him. And his response was, "I think you'd be successful in the pipe trades, no doubt." And that alone was a high enough accolade from him. So I looked up the local closest to me, and here it was, Local 350. It was a combination local, so not only could I pipe fit, I could weld, I could plumb, I could do it all, be a mechanic. And I was going to be financially comfortable quick enough in the ever-changing world. So joining the trade wasn't my only option. I wasn't somebody who was raised in poverty for very long when my father joined the apprenticeship. It's not just an option for people who feel lost or feel like they have nothing better to offer. It's also an opportunity for motivated individuals to become recognized and to master a skill that not many can. Being in a skilled trade has brought me a community, family, and opportunity, and new life goals for myself. The ability to travel, build, rebuild, or start anew, show off the amazing craftsmanship that goes into everyday work. It's been an honor working with some of the nation's best, pushing myself, my peers, and finding more unique individuals who belong here. I have no school debt. I have financial freedom at the age of 26. I have opportunity that is just endless. Not only can I travel the nation, I can go to Australia, Canada. What we obtain in the trade carries over. It's not just keeping me here at home in Reno. The financial freedom, the opportunity, and job security with room to grow, always evolving and learning. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. Another great story. Brian, you have something to add?
You want to grab we have
Oh, we
two
have
more
two more?
apprentices.
Come on
We
up.
could.
Come on up. I apologize.
Hello, my name is Colin Adams. I'm a third step apprentice at NV Energy, working to become a lineman. And my experience there has been great. I did 5 years in the Marines, tried out college for a few years. Wasn't a good fit. It wasn't something that I was excited about. And I did enjoy the learning, but I didn't know where it was going to take me. Nothing that sounded too exciting. And when I learned about working and maintaining the power lines, looked into that. It seemed, you have to use your brain. It's hard work. You're outside. You get to work with your hands. You get to work with the crew. And that kind of reminded me of my time in the Marines. And it really spoke to me. And I've been there for coming up on 2 years, and it's just been a perfect fit for me. I get excited going to work, and one big thing that I like about NV Energy is my coworkers, the journeymen, the foremen, and above. Big thing is always safety, and they really do. Everyone really does watch out for you, and depending on what step you are, depends on what type of work you can do, and everyone just really looks out for each other, make sure you're learning and working safe, and it's been the best decision in my life. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Colin.
Good afternoon. My name is Dominic Tanzi with NV Energy. I'm a journeyman. Recently, I went from becoming a journeyman to now the director of training for NV Energy to include all the trades. Speaking to that, with being a former lineman and then working with substation electricians and gas fitters, welders, servicemen across the state, both North and Southern Nevada, I say that the trades themselves are an opportunity really for people who are not necessarily college bound. I can't say uneducated by any means because I read more and read more in my life as an apprentice than a lot of my friends who went to college. It is a challenge. It's a different kind of challenge than you would expect. Long hours, cold, hot. Many of you experienced the massive power outage last year around the New Year's. Many of us were out working those for days at a time. And really it comes down to that service to the community in a way to get an education and give back to the community when you can. Really is an important part of our aspect. And whether it's a lineman or a gas fitter or a welder or a service person, we're out there usually right behind the firefighters in emergency events. And it's really an opportunity just to really succeed in life, not necessarily being a lawyer or a doctor by any means, but it's definitely a good place to be. So with that, NV Energy does have multiple apprentices programs, 9 altogether, and it is a opportunity for all groups to come in and get their chance to learn. It doesn't matter what the background is, as long as they can meet the minimum requirements, which even programs that we have that help people reach those minimum requirements to get their application bid in there. So it's a good program for the communities also, whether it's a pipe fitter or operating engineers or IBW, definitely it's a good place to be. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I represent the Building Construction Trades Council of Northern Nevada, and on behalf of the Northern Nevada Construction Trades Council, I would like to thank you guys for acknowledging and for this proclamation. Our apprentices work hard. It's a commitment. It's a big commitment, and as you've heard, it's changed people's lives. So on behalf of the Building Trades Council, thank you.
Thank you. Just give us your name for the record, please.
Tracy Holland.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate it. Do you have anyone else? Come on. Thank you. This is important stuff.
Hi, I'm Tom Blotsky with the Northern Nevada Sheet Metal Workers. I'm also the Vice President of the Northern Nevada Coordinators Association for Apprenticeship. The first thing I would like to do is say thank you guys for your hard work and the good that you do in our community. We appreciate all of you. And also I'd like to point out Diane Vanderwill, who also has helped our association for a number of years, and she's done a really good job, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much. I started my apprenticeship in 1993. My grandfather introduced me to it. He was a Teamster, lived about 2 blocks from here. Great guy, he raised me. Also a disadvantaged kid, homeless as a kid, and a lot of other things I care not to diverge, but I started in 1993 for Mount Rose Heating. I think they installed the unit that was just running here minutes ago. It seems to be working well.
Still from 1993.
Yeah, still working. As a second-year apprentice, I built the wheels on the Silver Legacy, on the big mine shaft. If you guys ever walked through, that's quite a feat. That was a really good experience. And at that time, I decided I wanted to be a contractor. So after I turned out, I taught apprenticeship. Right as I turned out as a journeyman, I started teaching apprenticeship, and then I went into business for myself. And in 2008, the economy crashed. So I went back into the sheet metal trade and started teaching again in 2018 and became the coordinator. So it's been a really good journey for me as a 30-year journeyman. So I'm really grateful. And it's really good to see these proclamations, and especially the homeless one too. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Hello, my name's Charles Zimp. I'm a bricklayer instructor for the Bricklayers and Tile Setters Union, and I'd just like to thank the board for reading the proclamation and recognizing our hardworking apprentices. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we get them all?
I think we did, yeah. So everybody that's here for this, we're going to take a picture right outside in the lobby.
All right. We'll take a 2-minute recess.
Oh, can I make a real quick comment?
Oh, yeah, yeah, let's do a quick comments from the board.
I just want to say I'm so inspired by your stories. The two of you that started, but all of you, it reminds us, and I guess because I was raised with a really hard work ethic, you know, with a father that was one of 14 kids, and just had that work ethic. My husband's from Ely, and they worked at Kennecott. So how I raised my boys and just a work ethic was one of the top priorities that I was raised with and I instilled in my children. And it's hard sometimes to find that. And I really see that in all of you and us recognizing and appreciating how hard and how many jobs we don't think about. You know, you just forget the types of work that people do aren't something that all of us on a daily basis think about, you know, who installed our HVAC or who, for the city when I first got elected, forgetting, you know, we get in storms, who's out there doing the roads, who was out there working the lines. We don't always recognize and appreciate all the hardworking people who make all of these things happen. And I love the opportunities that this door opens for so many people and for your workforce that we're in such dire need of. And really, the more we can spread that news to kids, to even adults who want to either re-enter or change their work path, just the opportunities that they can actually succeed in life and then keep going as far as they want to, or at least to support themselves and their families and our community. And I think that provides like an amazing stability and strength for our families and for our community. So thank you all. Loved your stories and so supportive of everything all of you do. Thank you.
Mr. Dare.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming. It's always great to put face to names and all that. I really want to give a shout out just to the efforts in the last couple of years to really work with TMZC and the universities and all of that piece. It actually, we can do all the work we want up here, but if we don't have the work on the ground to get things done, we're in such trouble as a community. So I know all of us know that, and so we cheer you on. So please know that's a very real cheer, that we need more and more workers, more and more people to step into those realms, and it's great for our kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Donald?
I just have a quick question. I don't know if there's a date set for, was it Apprenticeship Day out at Paradise? Not Paradise.
It's Labor Fest.
Labor Fest, yes. So
Yes.
sorry.
Labor
Is there a date
Fest.
set for Labor Fest for next year?
It'll be Labor Day.
Or, okay. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Thank you.
Paul, please, Paul, another direction, please.
First, I just want to say for those of you that served in our military, thank you very much for your service there. And then it was interesting, just this weekend, I read a survey of business owners, and if I remember the number correctly, it was 77% of them felt it was more important to have employees that have skills and experience than a college degree. And that's what you all are doing, and I just want to say thank you so much for helping folks, and again, whether it's young people or those that are my age wanting to go a different direction, thank you for the work you guys are doing. It's awesome.
Thank you. Ms. Vanderwell.
Just in closing, I'd like to share that there are numerous unions here. We have bricklayers, sheet metal workers, pipe fitters, carpenters, iron workers, NV Energy. So we got a great mix of all of these. And I'm a proud mother-in-law of 2 union members. So I'm extremely, extremely supportive of this model. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you from my bottom of my heart for what you guys do. We can't, as you said, the power went off. I'm not getting out there to fix that. Thank God you guys know what you're doing. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate it. All right, we'll take a 2-minute recess. All right, let's call the meeting back to order. And we're going to move on to consent items. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell,
I move to approve consent items 8.1 through 8.10 as submitted.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please vote. I went back to RTC meeting. Oh, sorry, Ms. Vanderwell. I did this. Did I just have a brain fart?
Oh, we're good.
Okay, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Trying to do two things at once. I probably shouldn't do that. 9.1. Let's get over here. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a mayor's appointments to the Sparks Arts and Culture Advisory Committee from the following pool of applicants listed in order. Those Karen Damon, Stephanie Gibson, Clinton Hohenstein, and Jessica McCarron, and Melissa Nordine. And I believe I had asked you guys to choose. Yeah, Karen. Yeah, Karen Damon and Clinton Hohenstein. Any discussion? Not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I move to appoint Karen Damon as the visual arts representative and Clinton Hohenstein as the performing arts representative, each with 2-year terms ending November 30th, 2025.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second the motion.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.2.
I know we have Karen in the back.
Karen.
We have Clinton, but.
Clinton, where are you at, Clinton? No? Karen? Come on down, Karen. Come in. Yeah. Donald got you in trouble. Now you gotta come talk to us in front of 2 million people on Facebook.
Yes. Hi.
Hi,
Does
Karen.
this work?
Yes, ma'am.
Or do I have to press? Oh, there it is. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity for me, as I have had Paul's kids in teaching. And so I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited to serve on this committee.
Thank you for stepping up to do that. It's not easy to get volunteers. We appreciate it.
You will give me something to do since I'm retired.
Oh, we will definitely give you something to do.
All
Thank
right.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Any other questions, comments from the council? Okay, thank you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Karen. Appreciate it. All right, 9.2. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of contract AC 6006 with Bob Murray and Associates to conduct a national executive recruitment for the city manager for the city of Sparks in the amount not to exceed $50,000. Chief.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of City Council. Back before you, Chris Crawford, your acting city manager and your police chief. As you may recall, we held a council workshop on November 6, 2023, where 5 executive recruiting firms presented before you for a contract to compete for our new city manager. Bob Murray and Associates was selected at that time. I have finalized a contract with them, which is before you today. The contract is for an amount not to exceed $50,000, and this will be a national search for a city manager, and staff recommends approval. I'm here for any questions.
Questions from the council? Okay, well, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I move to approve the contract AC 6006 with Bob Murray and Associates to conduct a national executive recruitment for city manager for the city of Sparks at an amount not to exceed $50,000.
Mr. Anderson.
Second?
You got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.3, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a request to direct the city manager to initiate the possible sale of Washoe County Assessor Parcel Number 032-122-27, an approximately .124 acre parcel owned by the city of Sparks, located on the southeast corner of Rock Boulevard and C Street in Sparks, Nevada. Mr. Bartini.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the council, John Martini, your Assistant City Manager. I'm before you today to ask for your consideration to direct Chief Vicar Crawforth to initiate the sale of a parcel of city-owned land at 228 Rock Boulevard. Just as a matter of background, the city purchased this parcel in 1989 for the purposes of constructing a right turn lane from northbound Rock Boulevard onto C Street. On the map, the parcel in question that we're asking permission to sell today is outlined in red. And as you will note, after the right turn lane was constructed, the right-of-way was never taken out of the property. So as it sits today, that parcel is ours. The right-of-way is on there. The remnant land remains. It's fine, it's legal, but we will have to fix that if we're going to decide to sell the parcel. Earlier this year, Councilman Abbott was reached by the adjacent property owner that's outlined in yellow, so right next door, that requested we consider selling the remnant parcel to them. After that, we met with the property owners, the Benettis. Staff did a little research. We believe that NRS does allow us to sell the parcel, the remnant parcel, if we can make a finding that it's in the city's best interest. Today, if you do provide that direction to Acting City Manager Crawforth, a couple of steps will need to be taken. Staff will work on remapping the parcel to put the right-of-way in the right-of-way and leave the remnant parcel so that we do have something to sell. We'll go out and get an appraisal done on it. We'll sit down and negotiate a purchase and sale agreement with the interested buyer. And we would bring that agreement and a resolution declaring it's in the city's best interest for sale back to the council at a future date once all that work's done. Staff does believe we can make an argument it is in the city's best interest to sell. Many of you have probably noticed this remnant parcel is subject to illegal dumping, illegal parking, illegal camping. Each of those acts is a call to service that is actually costing the taxpayers money for us to go out and mitigate. So I do think we can make a strong case that it's in our best interest to sell it. That's what I've got for you today. I'm available if you have any questions.
Questions from the council? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion then. Ms. Vanderwell.
We've discussed this before. When we go to negotiate this sale, if we can make sure that fees are customary in real estate as far as the split, so that the city doesn't bear the burden of paying for all of the fees to sell the piece of property. That's my only request.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? All right, Mr. Abbott.
I move to direct the city manager to initiate the possible sale of Washoe County Assessor's parcel number 032-122-27 and an approximately .124 acre parcel owned by the city of Sparks located at the southeast corner of Rock Boulevard and C Street, Sparks, Nevada.
Ms. Vanderwell.
I'll second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, John. 9.4, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a legal services agreement, AC 6008, with outside counsel to potentially participate in future litigation addressing impacts to drinking water to be filed against manufacturers, distributors, and dispensers of firefighting foam products. Sorry, pardon me. And I'm not going to be able to pronounce that word. Can you finish reading that for me, Paul?
Polyfluoroalkyl substances, or PFAS. Authorize the acting city manager to execute the agreement for possible action.
Thank you. Rachel.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of the City Council. I'm Jessica Coberly, Assistant City Attorney for the record. And item 9.4 provides the discussion of the legal services agreement that was just described in the title. You've been briefed on this issue in the attorney-client session, so I'm available to answer any additional questions.
All right, questions from the council? Okay. Mr. Dare.
I just want to say, so if it throws out in the community listening, this is a robust conversation that we'll continue to be having over the years to come. I personally don't believe this is appropriate for us to do. We don't We are not in the water business ourselves. We help walk with Tumwa. And Tumwa, this is a poignant conversation for them and us to follow that lead on this piece. There may be other pieces that come back in the future that we will pay attention to and watch very closely. I just want to make sure the community understands that piece of it and why this conversation, for me, I don't support this at this time. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, I'm looking for a motion then. Mr. Dare.
I move to decline the legal services agreement with outside counsel to potentially participate in a future litigation addressing impacts to drinking water to be filed against manufacturers, distributors, and dispensers for firefighting foam products known as aqueous film forming foams, or AFFF, which contain polyfluoroalkyl, did I do it? Substances, I was close.
Mr. Abbott. I
Second.
noticed you didn't take that motion.
No way.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Jessica. All right, first reading, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the first reading of Bill Number 2815, an ordinance amending Sparks Municipal Code, Section 10.48.030, parking of oversized vehicles, Section 10.48.250, human habitation of vehicles on public property, and Section 10.48.260, obstructive uses of public sidewalks, right-of-way, and public streets are prohibited, which are to become effective upon passage by the Sparks City Council. A public hearing will be held and Bill 2815 will be acted upon at the regular meeting of the Sparks City Council on Monday, December 11th, 2023 at 2 p.m. in the Sparks City Council Legislative Building. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 10.1 is a public hearing, consideration and possible approval to retain law firm McDonald Carano LLP, an agreement AC 6005, as special counsel to represent Neil C. Kreutz in his capacity as former Sparks City Manager in Mark Lawson versus City of Sparks. Neil Kreutz, case number CV 23-00458 at a rate of $375 per hour for partners and $300 an hour for associates.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of City Council. My name is Mariah Northington, Senior Assistant City Attorney for the record. Items 10.1 and 10.2 are very similar. I'm not sure if the council would like me to give the same presentation twice or simply consider one presentation 2 times. Pursuant to NRS 41.0339 and NRS 41.0344, the City Attorney's Office has determined that there is a potential conflict in representation in this matter, and therefore employment of special counsel is necessary. The City Attorney's Office recommends that the City Council direct the City Attorney to employ the law firm of McDonald Carano as special counsel to represent Neil Kreutz. And for item 10.2, it would be the law firm of Gunderson Law to represent the city in the ongoing Mark Lawson lawsuit. If you have any questions, I'm here for you.
All right, questions from the council? All right, we'll take a motion on 10.1 first. Public, see, I put it right there too. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Call it back to the dais, and we will go, Mr. Anderson.
I move to direct the City Attorney's Office to retain McDonald Carano LLP as a special counsel to represent Neil Kreutz in his capacity as a former city manager in Mark Lawson versus City of Sparks, Neil Kreutz case number CV 23-00458 at the rate of $375 an hour for work completed by a partner, $300 for work completed by an associate, $300 per hour, I should clarify. Thank you.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.2 is a public hearing, consideration and possible approval to retain Gunderson Law Firm, AC 6004, as special counsel to represent the City of Sparks in Mark Lawson versus City of Sparks Neil Kreutz, case number CV 23-00458, at the rate of $375 an hour for partners and $300 an hour for associates. Do we need any further presentation, council? If not, I'm looking for a motion.
Just open it up for public hearing.
We'll open it up for public comment. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? All right, we'll bring it back to the dais. Now I'm looking for a motion. I'm standing here holding the dang thing in my hand, too. Mr. Dare,
I move to direct the city attorney's office to retain Gunderson Law Firm AC 6004 as special counsel to represent the city of Sparks and Mark Losses versus City of Sparks, Neil Kreutz, case number CV 23-00458, at a rate of $375 per hour for work completed by a partner and $300 an hour for work completed by an associate.
Mr. Anderson.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.3, public hearing, consideration, discussion, and possible action to retain Pisanelli Bice PLC, agreement number AC 6006, as special counsel to represent the city of Spark concerning public records requests and potential pre-litigation issues related to Mr. Neil Kreutz at an hourly rate not to exceed $500. Or exceed a total billing amount of $50,000.
Good afternoon again, Mayor, City Member Councils. City Council members, I apologize for that. My name is Mariah Northington, Senior Assistant City Attorney. As mentioned in our prior two items, this is the same analysis here. Pursuant to NRS Chapter 41, the City Attorney's Office has determined that representation of the city in this matter may create a potential conflict of interest, and therefore we must employ special counsel. The City Attorney's Office recommends that the City Council direct our office to employ the law firm of Pisanelli Bice as special counsel to represent the city related to the Neil Kreutz pre-litigation matters.
Okay, questions from the council? All right, this is a public hearing. I remember this one. I just had to look at your face. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to direct the city attorney to retain Pisanelli Bice, PLC, AC AC 6006 as special counsel to represent the city of Spark concerning public records requests and potential pre-litigation issues related to Mr. Neil Kreutz at an hourly rate not to exceed $500, not to exceed a total billing of $50,000.
Okay, Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all.
10.4 is a public hearing, consideration possible approval of a memorandum of understanding amending the current collective bargaining agreement AC 5814 between the City of Sparks and Sparks Police Protective Association with no direct cost increase in FY24. Jill.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. Jill Valdez, Human Resources Director for the record. Before you today is a memorandum of understanding with the Sparks Police Protective Association, in other words, the police officers at the City of Sparks, regarding the use of annual leave just prior to retirement or separation from the city. Often our police officers are unable to use their annual leave because they serve the city, and so it can be difficult to use that along the way. This memorandum of understanding would allow them, like other agreements at the city, to use leave just prior to their retirement and provide equity with other agreements at the city. Also recognize them for their hard work and their sacrifice at many times when they are serving the city instead of using that leave. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions and recommend approval.
All right, question from the council. All right, seeing none, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding amending the current collective bargaining agreement, AC 5814, between the City of Sparks and Sparks Police Protective Association with no direct cost increase in fiscal year '24.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Did I do the public hearing? I need to do a public hearing. This is a public hearing. No, I did that. Yeah. Please vote. I'll twist it around now. Motion carries unanimously. 10.5, public hearing, consideration and possible approval of an amendment to collective bargaining agreement AC 5999 between the City of Sparks and the City and the Sparks Police Supervisory Protective Association Sergeants for the period November 13, 2023 through June 30, 2025. Jill.
Mayor, council members, Jill Valdez, Human Resources Director, again for the record. And I have one presentation for the next two items. The supervisory group of sergeants and lieutenants negotiate together, and we are proposing some amendments to the current contract. There are 4 amendments recommended. One is taking a memorandum of understanding that was executed in 2022 and adding it to the contract language. The second has to do with deferred compensation. The third, group healthcare committee language, and the fourth, post-retirement health insurance. So first, at November of 2022, the council approved a memorandum of understanding with the groups. Normally what happens then is that at the next opportunity, we incorporate that into the collective bargaining agreement. This particular MOU allows employees to cash out their annual leave in 40-hour increments. Next, the intention in these 2 contracts was to have a matching or the same amount of matching compensation in their deferred compensation, and it was unintentionally different. The sergeants were unintentionally left at $100 per pay period, whereas the lieutenants were increased to $150 per pay period. So the recommendation here is to simply correct that error and to make both equal at $150 per pay period. Third, there is an agreement with the language in the bargaining units about the group health committee. If you will recall, the group health care committee is responsible for making recommendations to council, and they're the exclusive group to make recommendations to council about changes to the group health care plan document. This reopener clause would allow for the city to also provide recommendations to council by providing you information with what the bargaining units recommended. And it would make the committee advisory only. This is only possible if all 3 of the units with this language in the contract were to make such a change. So this would not go into effect at this time, but it is a reopener to where if all of the groups agreed to the reopener clause, it would come before council for that change. And finally, the 4th item is post-retirement health insurance stipend. The other comparator agencies in our region have post-retirement health care for the sergeants and lieutenants. They have requested some equity, and not only with the other agencies in the area, but also with the fire contracts. What was agreed upon through collective bargaining is an annual stipend for retirees in these groups. If the retiree has at least 15 years of service with the city, once annually, it would be payable March 31st. At the beginning, it's prorated. Not everybody retires December 31st of the prior year, so there's a prorated year. And when somebody reaches Medicare age, there's a proration for that year as well. how it works. If there's an individual who retires with 15 years, but not 20 years, they would receive an annual stipend of 60% of the annual insurance premium rate for retiree only. And that stipend would end when they reach Medicare eligibility, which is currently age 65. For employees retiring with 20 or more years of experience, of city experience, they would get a stipend of 70% of the annual insurance premium for retiree plus spouse. Then at Medicare eligibility, that stipend would change to 40% of the annual insurance premium for the retiree only with Medicare. Now, the advantage of a stipend is that it gives flexibility for these individuals to either stay on the city's insurance if they chose to use that money in that way, or to exit the city's insurance and find a policy that works for them. Many of these individuals may be able to do that through military insurance or other types of insurance, which wouldn't have a burden on the city's plan. The estimated stipend amounts for the coming year, if someone were to retire with 20 years of service, $15,165 for a year of that insurance premium. And with 20 plus years at the Medicare eligibility, that's $3,916. For those retiring with 15 or more years of service, the annual amount is $7,062 and no eligibility at Medicare age and beyond. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and just a reminder for the public hearing.
Let me do a public hearing real quick. So there's a public hearing. Anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. Ms. Bybee.
So Jill, right now, currently, the police do not have the stipend as an option. They stay on the city insurance, and the stipend would give them the option to use that stipend to move off, or it would be in addition to the city insurance. They would still receive the $15,000 per year. I'm a little confused.
Okay. Jill Valdez for the record again. Currently, the sergeants and lieutenants do not get money. They don't receive money from the city in order to stay on the city's health insurance, other than their sick leave cash out if they wanted to use that. This provides for the opportunity to have some money to put towards that if they so want, if they chose, or they could leave. So if someone retires currently, they are responsible for the premium. So they have to pay the full premium at retirement.
Okay. And you said that we want to get them more in line with fire does receive a stipend, or their benefits are paid, and I know that's all contractually negotiated. Is that what you stated? Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ms. Vanderwall.
Hi. When is the reopener clause going to be presented to the other bargaining units?
Each time we meet with the other bargaining units at the end of their contract, it will be presented to them. We do have staggered contract openings. The next contract to come up for negotiation is fire in the coming spring, and then the year after will be operating engineers.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dare.
Is this stipend open to anybody who's willing to go find another insurance of any sort? Or do they have to prove that they are paying for what they're paying for? So, like, let's say my wife retired from here, I had insurance, does she come on my insurance for free? Does she get that stipend, or does she have to prove that it's being paid for? Or is it just anybody who goes off of our insurance that retires?
There is not a required proof of what other type of insurance they're obtaining. This money is
Just a
available
willingness.
based on the retirement only.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we've done our public hearing, so any further questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Dare.
I move to approve the amended collective bargaining agreement, AC 599, between the City of Sparks and the Sparks Police Supervisory Protective Association sergeants for the period November 13th, 2023 through June 30th, 2025.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 10.6, public hearing, consideration of possible approval of amended collective bargaining agreement AC 6001 between the City of Sparks and the Sparks Police Supervisory Protective Association lieutenants for the period November 13th, 2023 through June 30th, 2025. Same presentation.
Yes.
Any other questions from the council? If not, we'll do a public hearing. Thanks, Donald. Although anyone in the public wishing to speak at this time, thanks, Paul. Bring it back to the dais. We did the public hearing. Thanks for a reminder, though, Paul. I'm gonna have some kick marks on my shin. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve the amended collective bargaining agreement, AC 6001, between the City of Sparks and the Sparks Police Supervisory Protective Association lieutenants for the period November 13th, 2023 through June 30th, 2025.
Ms. Vanderbilt.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 11.1, public hearing, discussion of possible adoption of resolution number 3433, revising fees for development services provided by the City of Sparks to 1, modify fees for noticing, 2, add a fee for building elevation review, 3, add a fee to recoup actual costs for credit card transaction processing, 4, correct the fees for temporary sign permits and review of expired tentative subdivision maps to match previously adopted fees, and 5, hourly rates for concurrent planning, engineering, and administrative support. Sienna.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Lawson, members of the City Council. For the record, Sienna Reed, Planning Manager, here with you today to present those several changes that Mayor Lawson just read into the record to our fees for development services that ultimately provide revenue to our Development Services Enterprise Fund. But before digging into the details of each of the potential fee changes, I wanted to provide some background on the Development Services Enterprise Fund, as well as a bit of information on historical changes. So first off, the purpose of the Development Services Enterprise Fund is to maintain the building permit and related development function as a self-supporting entity. Ideally, what this allows the city to do is respond to changes in terms of the need for building and development services. Those are things like our planning cases, review and inspection of building permits, the inspection of infrastructure that ultimately gets dedicated to the city. And the Development Services Enterprise Fund and its associated fees were initially established in 1998. And then in 2005, there was a significant update to all of the fees associated with the development services. However, with the exception of some reductions that occurred during the Great Recession, and then 3 new fees that were added in 2013 and 2014, our fees for development services have generally remained static since 2005. And that's a fair bit of time, 18 years. And so acknowledging this, the Planning Division began taking a look at our fees for our entitlements, our administrative costs, such as noticing, credit card transaction fees, and the hourly rates that are charged to the review of development applications, permitting, and inspections. We started that about a year ago, and so been working on it and bringing forward potential changes for your consideration today. All right, so with this slide, transitioning here to the proposed modifications for development service fees, going to take a look first at our noticing costs. Currently, we have flat fees for noticing. We have a $500 flat fee for initial noticing, and if there's renoticing, there's a $600 flat fee. These fees are intended to cover statutorily required notice by mail as well as newspaper publication. However, the cost to provide public notice vary rather substantially. And this is primarily due to the number of mailed notices that need to go out. So for example, a conditional use permit where 50 properties receive mailed notice, our noticing costs could come in around $220. But we have other types of requests, such as amendments to plan development handbooks, and with those there can be over 3,000 properties that need mailed notice. And so that can really increase our total noticing costs. They can be over $2,000. And staff went ahead and took a look at what we were paying in terms of noticing costs from May of 2022 to July of 2023. And what we found was that over that time, almost $7,500 in noticing costs were subsidized by the Development Services Enterprise Fund. And so to better recover those costs and pass on savings to applicants where they're warranted, the Enterprise Fund Advisory Committee, or EFAC, is recommending a $500 noticing deposit, that's credited towards our actual noticing costs. And in practice, what this means is some folks will end up getting refunds if they don't achieve the $500 deposit, and other folks will end up getting invoices if they go over. Next up is a proposed new building elevation review fee. That would be a $1,250 deposit that's credited towards actual staff time with a not to exceed amount just a little shy of $7,500. Currently, we don't have a fee for this review in our fee schedule. However, we do have 2 adopted plan development handbooks that require it. And ultimately, that requires staff report preparation and consideration by the Planning Commission. So adding this fee would allow for costs associated with those tasks to be recovered and is supported by EFAC. Moving on, another possible change to the fee schedule is the addition of a credit card transaction fee. Right now, the city contracts for credit and debit card transaction fee services, and the rate for those services recently increased in June of 2023 from 25 cents per transaction and 2% of the overall transaction amount to 25 cents per transaction and then 2.75% of the total transaction amount. Staff went ahead and took a look at the impact of credit card transaction fees on our Development Services Enterprise Fund. We were looking at the timeframe from October of 2019 to December of 2022, so notably at that previously lower rate, and found that the fund subsidized almost $450,000 by allowing customers to pay building and planning fees by credit or debit card. And so breaking that down into some average numbers, the city paid approximately $138,000 per year, or $11,500 per month over the 3-year time frame for those fees. And a little shy of $140,000 per year, that's a full-time employee for the city of Sparks. And so to recover these costs, EFAC is recommending that the Development Services fee schedule be amended to include a credit card transaction fee. The proposal is 25 cents per credit or debit card transaction plus 2.75% of the total transaction amount. So just exactly what the city pays for the services, nothing additional. Another change for your consideration is to restore previously adopted fees for expired tentative maps and temporary sign permits. Fees for these services were either modified or adopted in 2012 and 2014. However, they didn't make it into our most recently adopted fee schedule that took effect in 2016. And so no changes to the previously adopted fees are proposed. The change would just simply add them back into the fee schedule. And lastly, adjusting the fees for planning, engineering, and administrative support services that are based on an hourly rate is proposed. The current hourly rates, as I mentioned earlier, were set in 2005. Since then, the consumer price index has increased by 56%. And just to give you a little bit of detail in terms of how the proposed hourly rates were developed, staff utilized our current labor costs, then calculated non-discretionary costs that get charged back to the Development Services Enterprise Fund. Those are costs for things like vehicles, vehicle replacement, other support services that we receive from Human Resources, the City Attorney's Office, Finance. And then also included in the hourly rates are capital facilities, as well as a margin for costs that aren't directly charged to the applicants. Those are costs such as pre-application meetings, records requests, management, and supervision costs. And in terms of EFAC's consideration, EFAC is recommending changes to hourly rates for planning, engineering, and administrative support services at this time. However, it's important to note that future work is planned to adjust the remaining hourly rates that we have in our development services fee schedule. Those would be for building, fire, and waste services, trying to take this project in phases so that we can make sure we keep up all of the other work that we need to keep up on, but wanted to note that there is future work ahead. And on this slide, you can see the proposed hourly rates. All proposed changes are less than the CPI inflation rate of 56% that's occurred since 2005. However, the current planning rates are proposed to increase by a larger percentage than our engineering or administrative support fees. And you can really see that in the last column on this table. And what's the reason for that bigger percent difference? It's due to our 2018 classification and compensation study that adjusted the class and comp for planning staff to be more aligned with engineering staff. And given we're taking a look at our actual labor costs, all of this is coming through in the proposed changes. In terms of development community outreach, staff did present this information and solicit feedback not only to the BAN Infrastructure and Planning Committee, but also to AGC as well as NAIOP. What we heard from those groups in summary was that the proposed modifications are reasonable. There was even surprise that more monies hadn't been lost to credit card transaction fees. In addition, we heard that a time and materials approach can be a little bit more difficult for the private sector when they're engaging in their cost estimation. It's important to note that the proposed changes wouldn't increase the number of services that are using hourly rates, but we understand that uncertainty can be a little bit difficult and did commit to providing more information on what are our average costs for planning applications that use hourly rates. Same thing with building permits as well as final map reviews, really to support transparency and just overall support of the development community. In addition, we heard that the increase in hourly rates would increase the price that is paid for applications that require multiple rounds of review. You may have heard the design by review in terms of a different term. Certainly that's true. However, those applications that are already going through multiple rounds of review right now, they do cost more as it stands. And so as required by state law, EFAC did consider the proposed changes on October 10th of this year. They unanimously recommended that council adopt the revised fees as presented, and you do have a motion to that effect on this slide as well as in your packet. This is a public hearing, and I'm certainly available for any questions that you have on this item.
Do public hearing first. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? And none, we'll bring it back to the dais. Questions from the dais, Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Just a question. You said it was presented with NAIOP and AGC. Did the Builders Association receive this information? Did we hear anything back from them?
We also presented to the Builders Association of Northern Nevada,
Yes.
their Infrastructure and Planning Committee.
Great.
And so their comments were summarized in terms of that slide, but we didn't receive any type of written comment from them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Dare.
How do we compare on fees compared to Reno and Washoe County? Have we done any comparables to see where that stands? Are we?
At this point, we have not done a full comparison of each of those fees, mainly because in terms of the statute for enterprise funds, we need to really have all of our fees based on what we're paying to provide the service. And so certainly we were really focused on what does it cost for our Sparks employees that are providing these services to provide them to the development community.
So on your end, I understand that. On our end, part of what I think we need to pay attention to is make sure we stay in that lane of making sure that we're not, here's the price over here and we're so high or we're this low or any of that. So some of that does help guide some of our conversation. And so, I mean, I'm supportive of us being responsible. We have a lot of interesting times ahead and things that unknowns. And so now is a very good time to do this. But for me, in other times of hearing this, it'd be nice to know where we sit on some of those pieces.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Not, I'm looking for, Mr. Anderson.
I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that you and all the staff have done on this. This, I'm sure, has been very time-consuming to go through all of the fees and figure out where we're missing the mark. And as we heard from Mr. Abney in public record or public comment, that although businesses are not liking increases in any way, those that I've talked to understand, just like they've seen increases, they understand likewise that we've experienced those as well, especially since 2005 on some of these. So I just want to say thank you for reaching out to our community. And from those businesses that I've talked to, they understand the importance of these increases so that we can provide the services that they've become accustomed to. So thank you for the presentation.
Okay, anyone else? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
All right, here we go.
It's your day.
Yeah, I move to adopt resolution number 3433, revising fees for development services provided by the city of Sparks to 1, modify fees for noticing, 2, add a fee for building elevation review, 3, add a fee to recoup actual costs for credit card transaction processing, 4, correct the fees for temporary sign permits and review of expired tentative subdivision maps to match previously adopted fees. And 5, update hourly rates for current planning, engineering, and administrative support.
Ms. Vanderwall.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Sienna. Okay, so moving on to 12.1, public comment. Mr. William Stewart.
William T. Stewart for the record. Thank you. As we move forward with the lawsuits and everything else that's going on with the city, there's obviously you've already talked about hiring outside law firms. I think the less we have to deal with lawyers, the better. Sorry, Mr. Duncan. The ability for the city to pay more money out than it's already expected to is going to continue to go up. The sooner we can solve this, and I know back in March I said it, $170,000 is a lot cheaper than $600,000. So let's get this done and move past it and go forward in 2024 and put it behind us. Instead of spending money on mistakes we've made, we could spend money on more police, more fire, more parks, better roads, all the things I've talked about numerous times from this dais. So whatever we can do to do that, and then also having policies and procedures in place, HR, I don't think they did their job when they went through this whole thing. You guys weren't involved in the decision that Neil made. The city, the lawyer, everybody needs to be accountable. That's why you're elected, to provide us a good leadership for the city of Sparks. I want to show my kids that this city that we live in is something that we want to be proud of. So please do your job. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. And next up is Hunter. And Hunter, I can't read. Is it Rand?
Hello, Hunter Rand for the
R-A-N-D?
record. May I begin?
Yeah, is it R-A-N-D?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'm in my official capacity as a managing partner of Eddie Westland Company, a business licensee in Sparks, Nevada. I'm also the chief broadcast engineer there. Super excited to see 8.4 and 8.5. And I guess I'm here, I saw an opportunity to get on the record to try to encourage AT&T to invest another $20 to $40 million in our community. They've already done that, about $40 million. I could talk about how fiber benefits my business, benefits my personal life, but instead I'm going to tell you about a friend of mine who I direct and who I work with. He had a seizure a couple weeks ago in his bathroom, woke up in the hospital, spine broken in 6 places. Previously, Emmy Award eligible, camera operator, graphics operator for the Reno Aces, worked with me as a subcontractor for Nevada Sportsnet, NBC Sports, CBS Sports. And the truth is, I don't think he's going to work again. If you've ever been to an Aces game, you've seen the cameras we use, and they're 80 to 100 pounds. And so even with a full recovery, I won't want to put him in that position. But in his current state, he can't even be a graphics operator. That's a job that sits at a computer in a truck. He can't leave his house. He has 24/7 care, but he can play video games. And how does that relate to this? Well, Formula One in Las Vegas does what I want to do in Sparks and Reno, and that's remote production. The broadcast operations center is in the United Kingdom, and they're controlling everything in Las Vegas. And with wider adoption of fiber, which is not at his residence and not at my residence, we can essentially give him work on live sports productions, live television at his home, at Renown, at any other medical facility. Really kind of changes the definition of work for home. A lot of the technology that we developed and pioneered during COVID, we can use for good, reduce commuting and things like that. And so really, I'm just so excited to see the city is voting yes for fiber, and I just wish that AT&T would listen to my screaming a little bit more for the past 2 years. Councilmember Abbott and Councilmember Vanderwell have heard me scream about a better municipal fiber. They stopped on the other side of York. They're 100 feet away from my house personally, and I would just love to see them continue to roll out fiber throughout northern Nevada. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Hunter. All right, this is public comment. Anyone in the public wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll bring it back. We're on to 12.2, announcements from the mayor, city council, and city manager. Mr. Manager, you got anything?
No, sir.
Mr. Chief?
No, sir.
Chief Manager?
Have a good holidays.
That's true. Anyone on the council?
Actually, I'll say something. Nah. No, I do want to say that Ms. Bybee and myself, we got to go to Georgia for National League of Cities, and one of the things that is going on is that we get to hear from other communities across the whole country and cities and what they're walking through and doing and seeing. And it's always, one, refreshing that you're not alone on some of these things, but I just encourage you, there's even stuff on there that if you ever want to see some of what that looks like, if you go to NLC, you can actually go on their website and you can see some of the stuff, some of the active things that we get to be a part of. But there's some really great information for cities and communities like ours on there. So just an encouragement, but it was a great time. We brought back a lot of things to talk to our city about, and it was great representing the city of Sparks.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, I would be remiss with half of the Parks Department sitting over here if I didn't mention Turkey Trot. Yeah. Thursday morning, 8:30 is kickoff time, and it's gonna actually be pretty warm, 35 degrees. That's pretty good. We've been out there when it's 5 or 7 degrees. I'm actually thinking about riding my motorcycle down there that morning.
Record attendance.
Record attendance, again?
Yep.
Every year, what?
Yep.
I mean, we have thousands of people there and their families. It's a tradition to start off your Thanksgiving Day, and it's also a good way to work up some appetite for later in the day. So please join us on Thursday. I think there's still spots available. Ladies, we still got spots? Yes, there are. You're not supposed to say, Nancy. All right.
Where to go? Does everybody know where to go?
Shields, it's Shields right at the Shields parking lot. So at 8:30 is the kickoff time. Get there a little early for some refreshments and sign up. And a picture with the turkey. And Donald will be there too.
That is the turkey.
That is, well, the extra turkey. All right, we're on to 13, adjournment. We are adjourned. Thank you.